Ahoy! Today New World announced something that isn't in itself a bad thing, it's actually a decent idea to have this feature, but the execution is absolutely terrible and also opens up a very funny loophole. So what they're going to do is they're adding name expiration for characters who haven't played for an extended period of time. This makes sense, and many games have this feature. If somebody hasn't logged in for many years and somebody else wants their name, I think that's fair play. But that's not how New World intends to execute this. Beginning on October 15, the following change will be in effect. After 6 months of inactivity, character names will be made available to be taken by new characters. That includes characters who haven't played for 6 months prior to October 15. So it is essentially already in action now, but that's when you can actually take someone's name. In this case, if a player creates a new character, they may choose an expired name. If this happens, the character's name that has been taken will have to choose a new name, and the play button will be replaced with a rename one. In order to maintain your name, you must log in to the world with the character in question. This change is meant to provide more naming options for characters logging into New World in preparation for a console release. There are multiple aspects about this that are questionable. First of all, of course, the 6-month inactivity. 6 months in New World's content cycle is really not a long time. If New World was releasing massive patches every 6 months, I would understand. But this effectively means if you were someone who played for the Rise of the Angry Earth expansion and stopped shortly afterwards, your name is up for grabs even though you relatively recently paid for an expansion of the game. That seems extremely bizarre when since then there hasn't really been any significant update that would have brought people back on a larger scale at all. Taking the names of people who've only played for the first couple months of the game is completely fine in my opinion, because many of them will probably just never come back or will be able to suffer through the loss of a name change. But why this is for somewhat recently active players makes absolutely no sense. I would say that this threshold should be at least 1 year, probably even 2 years. And what makes this worse is that logging into your account is not enough. You also need to log into the world with the character in question whose name you want to keep. So if you have multiple characters, maybe alt accounts, smurfs that you haven't used in a while, then you need to log in with all of those as well if you want to keep the names. One goal of all this is clearly stated here. They want to have console players be able to grab many of the names that would otherwise be locked away from them. Again, I don't think that's inherently horrible if it's very old names that are not being used, but it is stupid when it's names from relatively recently active players. But there may be ulterior motives behind this whole having to log in aspect, which might be that they want to be able to show the statistics of since this date so and so many players have logged into the world, so and so many characters have been online at some point, and that would look good on a report to some higher up just saying, look, they've all logged in, when many of these characters would have only logged in to secure their name, to make sure that they can keep the name they already have, and they'd have to repeat that every 6 months as well, which again is really annoying, really stupid. But ironically, the whole thing has a somewhat accidental upside. Because effectively, if you're not playing right now, you can use this to get a free name change, which I know some people have been waiting for. So if you're not logging in with one of your characters for 6 months, you can then have a friend or even a stranger create a character that has your name, which will automatically put you in the rename mode where you can choose a new name. Of course, the portion of the player base that does not want to play for 6 months for a name change is relatively limited, but I know that some exist out there that are considering to maybe come back with the next expansion or with the new World Aeternum update, and that could possibly benefit from this. But that's very clearly a side effect and not the main goal, and the overall approach here, once again, very, very questionable, very frustrating for the existing players, which, again, is likely not even to scorn the existing players, but rather just they don't care about the existing players, so doing this to cater to the new audience, and that's all they really care about right now. What's very ironic to me about this is that when I look back at other games, whenever I see console gamer tags, there are long strings of numbers, underscores or spacebars and letters in between that are often more complex than the average password. So I don't really see how that demographic would be caring all too much about player names in the first place, but we'll find out. For now, if you want to hear more updates, consider subscribing and clicking the bell. And thanks to my patrons for supporting me even further. They get early training tips in return. And thank you for watching. SLOTH out.